Welcome everyone to this video. This time we are going to discuss a modification that I've made to my circuit, which facilitates through earth transmission that Tesla's patent, some of Tesla's patents use. My apologies for the huge delay between videos. I've been busy like the rest of you. So I want to take this opportunity to draw relevance to the importance of your, like the title says, they're coming for your power very soon. I've researched this for about just over 20 years now. Like, it's been a long time, many rabbit holes. I know it's coming, and if you have a look at the illustration on the screen, you'll see who's involved. I don't wish to turn this channel into a political landscape, so I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I just want to present the door to everyone so that everyone's aware that something's coming, and now's the time for you to learn, rather than bury your head in the sand and pretend that it's not going to occur. So again, like, I didn't forget about anyone. I just think it's really important that people come to understand and place the appropriate level of importance on what's going on in the world at the moment. So that being said and out the way, what are we going to discuss in this video? It's going to be, as I said before, it's going to be on the modification. There are many modifications you can make to this circuit, and I will put links in the description and also have reference on the screen when I'm editing. Hopefully I'll remember to do that. This modification helps facilitate a brighter light through earth transmission. As I said earlier, there are many different coils that can be applied to this circuit of mine. It does look like a bit of a scary mess, but it is very basic. I couldn't have made this one any more simple. It only has the one transistor here, which facilitates the oscillations, turning DC into AC for those of you who are just new to this field. So why would you want to do this? We'll go through the benefits of that, and I've prepared a couple of scenarios as well that I want to cover, just to sort of bring to the forefront of what can be achieved with this type of system and how easily it can be achieved. You know, it's capable of radiant energy transmission. It's a radiant energy receiver, a radio frequency transmitter, a radio frequency receiver, a DC to AC converter, a one-wire transmitter, similar to Tesla's stuff, a resonant coil coupler, long-distance DC transmission, which for those of you who aren't really aware, that's a big deal. The reason why we use AC systems today is because of that longer transmission distance before you get a breakdown in voltage. With DC, it's typically about 10 meters, which isn't really enough. So as we'll cover in the scenarios in a little bit, this system of mine can be easily created and allow you to transfer that low voltage DC, ramp it up to a high voltage AC or pulsed stepped AC, and then transfer it to the location where you need to use the power. So for those of you who are time poor, I will make sure that I put chapters in the description. So thank you for spending your spare 5 minutes of the day to watch this video. Hopefully I can give you what you're looking for. So, if you, like I said, you time poor, maybe jump down to the description and select the areas that are relevant to you and that way you can get what you need rather than wasting a bit more time. For the rest of us, I believe this fulfills 2 of Tesla's patents, and or has a similar behavior to 2 of Tesla's patents, and those are patents number 593138, which is this one here. Yeah. Now that is a very, very basic patent. I think a lot of people probably get confused when they start reading the patents, and they're written a long time ago, and you sort of have to keep referring back to the illustrations, and then people refer to modern textbooks, and that's where, in my opinion, that's where the confusion is derived from. This is not really technical stuff, so we'll go into that and I'll explain. You don't even need to read, if you don't want to, you don't need to read these patents. You don't have to read these. These are identifiable with a basic level of electronics knowledge. You don't need to go full depth, squirrel yourself away, and just constant research all the time. It doesn't have to be like that. You can just make these from looking at the diagrams. Use a little bit of common sense, a bit of common logic, and when you do that, and that's what I've done and come up with my circuit, well, I was a little bit stunned that things are easier than what we've been told. And I'm like, hang on, maybe I've done something different here. Maybe it's not what I think it is. It can't be that easy, but it just really is. And I think what the establishments have tried to do through our education system is make this seem difficult. Well, I used to do sales, and I was always taught, teach people that it's easy. Teach people, make it look easy. If you make it look intimidating, no one's going to want to rise to the challenge. So in fear of failure, that they may question whether they can do it because you made it look difficult. So I think that's what our education system has done to us. They've made this stuff look difficult. So it's probably just better for everyone's sake if you just pick up the first page of the patent and just go through the illustrations. So just to point out to you that this is not difficult. You do not need the following pages. You do not need to know anything about what this, other than what you can see here with a basic level of understanding of electronics. So here we've got something buried in the ground. That wire runs up to a spiral pancake coil. Then that wire continues through and follows across the top page to insulators, which are just poles that are standing, keeping that wire off of the ground. Which again, like a lot of people might, like I saw this and I went, oh, well, I don't have insulators, what can I do? Well, it's really not necessary. It's just, it gets a better reaction if it's up away from the ground, because you're running the return signal through the ground, through this point here. So it's important to just recognize what's going on. It's very, very basic stuff. This is a generator. The generator's wires go to the perimeter of that pancake coil. It radiates that energy into the pancake coil, one end of which is connected into the ground. The other end goes past the insulators to a resonant coil, a coil that's the same in dimensions. And then that is received by a similar resonant coil where the generation field is applied. Just on this side, we're just now receiving it. So we have a resonant coil, same frequency. We're transmitting from the same frequency to a higher frequency. receiving in that high frequency, transmitting back down or transforming back down to a lower frequency, at which point we've got a load again plugged into the earth. So people have said to me that I haven't read the patent, B, it's nothing like what Tesla has done, and I question that, because again, with this patent, patent 685957, what's difficult here? Basic level of understanding of electronics tells you this is a capacitive plate suspended above the ground. The higher you place this, the higher voltage you obtain. Here we've got a means of capturing that, and a form of oscillation. This is all these references are. You read the patent and you can tell that it's using infrared light sources and that sort of thing to represent there are different ways that you can capture this energy using this system. But for people to suggest that this is not, my circuit is not similar to this, I've got another video which again I'll hope to remember to post a link just here in this section of the video. But you can see I have earth points. I have, as in this one, I have 2 earth points in my circuit, because without it I can't transfer through the ground and my lights won't turn on. I can run this system of mine independent and without earths as well, but it will tend to use the battery as an earth, as an artificial earth, so we won't go into that now. But so yeah, I just wish people would, instead of going, oh, that's not what you think you've got, just perhaps, because this is so easy to build and you're already at that level of intelligence where you can ascertain just from looking at a video that what I'm doing is not the same, then you should be more than capable. So you rebuild this and then you study the effects that it has, and then you can tell me where I went wrong. Until such time, I'm convinced, because I did the work and I made the device, so I don't need to question it anymore. I know that it works, so I don't need to be told that it works. So anyone wants to challenge me on that, feel free to go right ahead. This modification, I'll just touch it while we've got I'll touch on it while we've got this good lighting here. There are 10 turns there, and as I said before, you can use many different shaped coils. This is another one that will work wirelessly, running just a small LED. This is a 3-volt LED. This is about 40 turns. The dimensions, the length of wire, the load, everything is different, because and is required to be tailored to the load device. The coil needs to be tailored to that load device, and you'll see in my other videos using this coil, I have many different designs, all designed for different loads. So as I'll show you a little bit later in this video, the 10 turns here on that coil facilitates the operation of a 240 volt 15 watt light. So there's a big field that this circuit will fulfill, and you can just basically create this one primary transmitter circuit and then make multiple coils of whatever dimensions you desire to facilitate that. Okay, now I'll give some warnings. Don't unalive yourself. I can't believe I have to say it that way, but don't unalive yourself. It might be run on a 12-volt battery, but it will boot you in the backside. It has hit me plenty of times before. Link to a video if I can remember. And And it literally fries your brain when it happens. You can, if you listen to that section of the video that I'll link, you'll hear me struggling to think for a few seconds there. I had to reboot and come back online. So it's not nice. It doesn't matter that it only starts out at 12 volts and runs off a tiny little battery. There are anomalies occurring when you plug these things into the ground. All things, they just change. You would normally not expect a 240 volt light to run by being plugged into the earth, but it will with this circuit. So just be careful. Don't connect this to, in my opinion, you shouldn't connect this. You do what you want. If you can afford to blow up things, go crazy if that's your thing. But I wouldn't recommend connecting this to circuits, your modern day electronics. The lights are sort of a stretch in their own right. They have modern day electronics inside, and some lights are just not going to be compatible with this. But yeah, they're relatively, I'd say probably around about the 80% success rate. I've only had approximately that 20% of lights just don't work from the get-go. So you just have to go through a couple of different light bulbs. When I found one that did work, I just went and bought a few and put them away in the cupboard. I don't recommend connecting those devices other than the lights, because this has that radiant energy field, and it permeates anything in the vicinity. It will attach itself to the wires. It will literally flow into, if you've got a multimeter connected to this, at any point doing any type of measurement, it will also be emitting that radiating field. So you can hold over neon lights over the top of your meter. They will light up. You can put them near the battery. They will light up. Under certain conditions, again, check my other videos, you'll see the differences for when it doesn't work and when it does work. So for new modern lithium batteries, probably not very smart to go connecting those up, because those have a battery management system inside them, and this thing will be going through it, be presenting a very, very high radiating voltage across the battery's terminals, all through the circuitry of the BMS. The whole thing will be lit up like a Christmas tree, and it is fair to say that it will not do the correct job of management. I've had battery chargers before where they won't charge the battery because this thing that's running off of the battery is putting out such high voltages, it's confusing everything. The charger thinks the battery's full because it's reading an exceptionally high voltage. So you can do it. Part of the problem is the connection phase. So if you want to try and experiment things, now I've mentioned in my other videos that I have blown up a few transistors with this circuit. That is only because of my constant testing and constant what if approach. So I'm always going, what if I just, bang. So I'm not recommending you do those types of tests. If you want to go crazy, you can do it. Just remember that it might be the cost of one of these transistors. Maybe every time you blow one up, there's another $1. So I couldn't afford to do that too long, but I recognized that I needed to do it to see what does work and what doesn't work, and that's what led to this whole circuit being born anyway. So whilst I don't necessarily want people risking their electronics, it is also something that is required for new discoveries. If you don't do these things, you won't find out these things. So, okay, warnings out of the way. We're just living in such a namby-pamby world these days. You have to do these things. Okay, so let's move on to the scenarios now that this system can be used in, and then we're going to teleport outside and go over just some actual physical demonstrations of how the circuit can be used. Alright. Okay, let's start with scenario number 1. So we have 2 hills, and okay, I'm not going to get any prizes for artistry here, but we're just going off the concept. Okay, so say you've got your nice little house stuck down here. Okay, there we go, and on top of the hills you've got trees. Again, I'm not going for any prizes here, nor would I qualify. Okay, so we've got the sun comes over the hill and basically keeps this place in shade all day. So there's no point having solar panels on this house. And there's no point putting them on this side. Say our sun's over here. There's no point putting solar panels on this side of the hill because DC won't allow them to transfer their power far enough. It won't go over here using DC, assuming that this distance between there and there is greater than 10 meters. So there's really no option for people and except just to get the expensive solar placed in. So expensive grid connected up to their home. In this case, you could actually use my circuit. You could place my circuit here. Okay, that was that was supposed to be a coil. Yep. Okay, so we'll just put a couple of wires there, and basically you're plugged into the earth, and then this other wire will allow you to run all the way to your home, have your light bulb. Wow, that could have looked bad really quickly there. Okay, light bulb, and we'll plug that straight into the ground as well. Okay, so there's scenario 1. That just allows you to travel. Now, according to Tesla's work, he stated you could go all the way around the earth. Now, I'm not suggesting that my circuit will allow for that. I imagine you would have to bump up the power transmission a lot. I don't really know, because the furthest distance I've tested with this system is 130 meters. Actually, might have been 160 meters. I'd have to go back to my other videos to double check on that. At least I've confirmed over 100 meters. I know that for sure. I brought a brand new roll, 100 meter roll of cable just to test the concept. Scenario number 2. I've had some of my subscribers say that they live in a poor community. Not everyone has access to solar. Not everyone has access to electricity. You've got most of your homes in a position where solar really wouldn't benefit these people. And nor can they afford it in the first place. The one guy that contacted me said that he did have access to some basic equipment. Now, he could facilitate the power and supply power. So with his panels up here on the hill, where he does get light, and down here with the trees and the other homes, I imagine the scenario was not suitable. So he could supply using, let's try see if we can get a better version of a coil this time. So he could and then he could run, again connecting one wire into earth, and then the other wire goes down to the other homes, and that can have a light for every circuit. As far as I've tested so far, there's not an infinite number of lights that can be connected to this. Again, up the transmission, use the same concept. You just need an oscillator. My oscillator circuit is probably the most basic signal generator you could find on the internet. You can go and buy $5 signal generators, but you then got to connect them up, and there's a lot to go wrong. My circuit only has that one transistor, so this particular scenario, you could have more than one coil and connect that all into the same system for power generation for its batteries to supply power. But then you could have more lights, more coils, more lights, until you obviously get to that point. In this scenario here, these people that don't have any electricity would love just a singular light, and I'm sure they'd be very, very happy. That would change their world drastically. So it's all relative to your scenario. Scenario 3, most likely scenario to occur, in my opinion. You're stuck in some post-apocalyptic nightmare brought on by the WEF, and your neighborhood is full of zombies that ended up that way because they were forced to take experimental medicine. No idea of the outcome. But that's the most likely one, just the way that the governments of the world are headed, and under the direction of children of Nazi supporters like the WEF. So like I said before, I don't want to go making this video apolitical, or this channel a political one, but just know that my head wasn't stuck in the sand for the last 20 years that I've been watching what they've been up to. They're now making their moves now, and they will come for your power. So with the doom and gloom out the way, let's teleport outside with the magic of TV, and we'll see if we can place some relevance on how you can use this to your benefit. All right. Okay, so here we are teleported outside. I've got the circuit out here. Got it running. I use these little coils. They're really handy, just wireless induction there, and that just helps me. Helps remind me that this is live, and the circuit is producing really high voltages. The light that I'm using here, I will take out and try and get the camera to focus on, because I don't want to get the camera too close to that circuit. It will not appreciate it. So we're looking at a 220 to 240 volt AC, 50 to 60 hertz, and if we can get the wattage in there, 9 watts. Let's see. Yeah, there we go, 9 watts. Okay, so now this is just to show you that it's very, very simple, and you don't need super expensive equipment to get this job done. We've seen these. They're electric fence, just like temporary electric fence posts, and you have an electric wire looped through these loops here, and run around all your property that you just want a temporary connection. But I got sick of not having the exact thing, and so that's the full length of that spike that can actually penetrate the ground, so it doesn't go in very far, and I just used 2 of them. Now, in reference to Henry Moray's work, Tesla's work, the Benitez patents, a lot of those guys do talk about big earth rods and decent earth rods and lots of them. And yes, I agree. You'll get a brighter light and more fantastic and more efficient circuit if you have really efficient earth rods. But don't get into a situation where you're not doing the experiment because you were told that you need the perfect material. So in this case, we're just using 2 of those rods. I hope you can see everything here because it's getting quite dark. I'm in between showers. It's been raining all the time at the moment. So the circuit not connected to earth, it's running off 12.68 volts and 3.4 watts. And what I've got here is this new coil. It does, whoops, touch the collector then. It gives you a bit of a tingle. It's not nice. Be careful. So we can see down in there that we have the extra coil, the 10 turns. All of this will be in the schematic. Hopefully I'll try and edit that in. And here we have just a standard bridge rectifier. Again, looks like spaghetti, but it'll be very clear and obvious. And to those who argue that I haven't read the patents of Tesla, well, this is the oscillator. Again, I'll hope to have a diagram there so you can see on the patent. That's the oscillator. This is the one wire that runs to the load that we're going to connect into the ground using this other post. So if I place that post right there and we connect that up straight to the actual post, so it's a really bad connection, but it still will work. So again, don't not do the experiment because you don't have the exact thing. I was waiting for earth rods, and then I looked at the Tariel Capenard's system where they bury a radiator. I'm like, yeah, any metal, just got to make it metal. Something that rusts is always seen as a bad thing, and I argue whether the genuine copper earth rods are the way to go, because if anyone's seen copper left out exposed, it gets a skin on it and doesn't become a very good conductor after that. Whereas an iron base is going to enhance and grow and become part of the soil. Every couple of months I just take it out and I'll put the grinder to it and give it a nice clean face again. So you can see that with just that one wire connection through the load from the high voltage source that is running, we have no 240 volt light. And if we were to take this other earth rod, and I've just got a wire attached to it, and these have been out here forever, but that wire is like covered up with a insulator there, and so we're dealing with average quality components, but it's still possible. So now if I take my circuit and then we connect this second earth line to the negative of the battery, we again see no real change in the light there. It's slowly trying to come to life. I can see it there. It's sort of trying to build up and it's just not really happening. Look, there are many ways to skin this cat. Horrible old saying. But this new 10 turns will facilitate through that bridge rectifier, as long as you have, again, it'll be on the schematic, as long as you have this connection that comes to the other side of the bridge rectifier. And if we were now to connect this green line here, which is going to the other earth stake, this wire that I've got in my hand, and then we can see the light will come on super bright. And what are we looking at? 12.9 watts. Light is super bright. Now if I try and one-handed connect that, okay, there we go. But be careful I don't blow anything up by letting it touch anything else. Okay, so now we've got that light on, and if we disconnect this one at this side and we'll connect it to another 10 meters, this is plugged directly in the ground here. So we'll disconnect that. There we go. Plug that back on. Lights back on. That's running off. Okay, and you can see with the earth rod out, and we're traveling over like a, I don't know, 10 meter line. I don't think it's anything more than that, even just touching the ground there. See if I can get those both in the same shot so you can watch when it touches the ground. We have earth, and the circuit wants to run through the earth. Now, according to Tesla's paperwork, you can go all the way around the world doing this. So, like a good experimenter, I didn't get this all unknotted before doing video, so we can see, even though I get far away from it, we'll go 10 meters, full length of the cable, and all I have to do is touch the ground and it works. So don't think you need, to do what Tesla did and had a tower 100 feet in the air or whatever it was, 80 foot in the air or something, and then having to bury 300 meters into the ground. Look, I'm not sure those numbers are accurate at all. I'm pretty sure they're not. But my point is, you can do this work with just basic equipment, whatever you've got laying around, and it will be able to pass electricity through the earth over a one-wire system, just like Tesla described. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.